it's dumpster fire time, so we're refusing to talk to the media, and I don't know I don't buy the language barrier excuse or what. I mean, he's what's he pissed off about? Is he pissed off at himself? Is he pissed off at what they did at the trade deadline when he was asking him to do something at the trade deadline? It wasn't enough as far as he's concerned.
I think if you're Raffy Devers, you're looking at this team and you're saying, all right, I made a deal with these guys, and now all the media is going to ask about what a failure this season was again.
Okay, well, and you answer it. You're being paid $30+ million. You answer the question.
I agree, but if you're Craig Breslow, you should be answering it as well. So that's why I said at the beginning of the show, it starts at the top. So if your front office isn't answering questions about it, why should you be expected to?
And I get baseball's a little bit different. I believe that it's a part of the language barrier, and he is like a shy guy when you see him.
Is there any athlete that you are not willing to make an excuse for?
I'm not making an excuse for him. He's definitely deals with the language barrier, and so that's something that he's probably still learning. He's a shyer guy that doesn't really say much. I mean, we see that all the time. We see plenty of athletes like that.
It goes so far with fans when you stand up there and say, hey, we're not getting the job done, and I put myself first. I'm the highest paid guy on this baseball team.
But not everybody has that DNA woven in them. You know what I mean? Not everybody's that type of guy. Like Kawhi Leonard's not that type. Even we talk about Jason Tatum. That's not who everybody is. So you can't expect, like your thing is, Greg, this is what athletes should do. But remember, every athlete isn't built that way. So he's a guy that is not very comfortable with the language and is shy already. So he might not want when things are a little bit rocky because he doesn't know how to, handle that stuff.
It wasn't shy when he was asking for $30 million a year.
That's different.
Right, but I mean, Manny Ramirez was as talented a baseball player as we've ever had, and he had a bad relationship with the media, but when they won, he was,
But even Manny wasn't like, Manny wasn't like Ortiz full on out, willing to talk to the media all the time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, no, I'm saying, so you agree with me then?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But there have been players that don't have a good relationship with the media, but they still talk. Like David Price. I mean, he hated the media. He was getting in fights with members of the media, allegedly, on planes. But he was still going out and talking. So why do you need, this is always like, why do you need certain players to talk? What Greg just said, it goes a long way.
I think the fans have an interest in it. I think the fans that are still there and still rooting for this Red Sox team would like to hear from Raffy Devers. I mean, I don't know.
Don't you hear from the manager?
What's he going to say? What's he going to say? Right. I suck right now. We suck right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's just different when it comes to baseball, too, with the language barrier. I don't sense there's this feeling of a lack of accountability by the baseball team. I feel like the fan base feels the front office failed them again and that Cora has not had a good second half.
Lack of accountability is a perfect way to describe it, Curtis.
Yeah. There's just, but it's top to bottom. Like, we're supposed to have the front office report in 30 minutes. The only time I've seen John Henry at Fenway Park outside of the celebration of Tim Wakefield's life during the radio telethon was when they won the ALDS. All of a sudden, he came up from under the park, and he was everywhere talking about the plan and how great it's been.
Don't forget, he was at the Winter Classic, Curtis.
John, hey Raffy, hey anybody.
That's right. I'm sorry, not watching his hockey team play the Bruins. And it's so frustrating because you hear people like Sam Kennedy say they take it personally. Did you know Sam Kennedy grew up a mile from Fenway Park? He says that, I think, 16 times in interview.
All right.
Where is he? They charge the highest ticket prices in baseball. They're nowhere to be found when things don't go well. And they tried to get around the trade deadline by extending the manager right before the trade deadline was set to occur to make it fan base feel like they actually invested further in the team when they pay Cora things that have nothing to do with the luxury tax.
Text for you, Wiggy, on the Subaru of New England text line, which is 37937. Find your authorized Subaru retailer at SubaruofNewEngland.com. Is it concerning to you, Wiggy, that Devers is literally the first guy to leave the stadium after every single game? Is that what Big Papi did? Is that what other team leaders do? That's a question for you.
Is it concerning to me? Depending on his performance, right? If you look at his numbers and where he is, and he's clearly on pace to have a better season this year at the plate when it comes to last year. So it's really about performance, like the whole staying afterwards. If you're staying afterwards and it's helping you perform, great. If you're a guy who does what you do and then leave afterwards, but you're still performing well, that's fine. Not everybody has to be at the gym or the field 2 hours before and 2 hours after. Some, as long as your performance is well. I don't subscribe, and this is the part of maybe where sometimes and it never really bothered me as a fan, isn't it the job of the coach, or I agree, the front office people to do the talking? I'm not tripping that Robert Kraft is not talking. I don't need him.
Not?
No, I don't need him to talk.
Well, there's Curtis.
Yeah, but it don't bother me. I never really buy into that. So the owner doesn't need to be there telling me what the hell's going on. That's what the manager's for, the coach is for, or maybe the GM.
By the way, bad luck by Kraft having to announce to the world that they're paying Christian Barmore. You really want a round of applause that you're not paying a guy who couldn't play this year? It's just, I love the fact that we've had so much success here, but it has created a massive divide between the owners and the fans because the owners don't feel indebted to the fans. They feel like they've performed well enough that the fans don't deserve to hear true answers about what's going on.
But the fans also, we're such flip-floppers because...
No, we just want to win.
No, I know, but if the owner was like Jerry Jones, we would tell the owner to shut up. We don't want to hear from him. You know what I mean? So it's what do we want? Do we want an owner that's more like Jerry Jones, or do you want an owner who's more like Robert Kraft or some of the other owners that are kind of, hey, I hire people to do all the other stuff? So,
I want the John Henry and Robert Kraft that first bought their teams and cared deeply about the fan base. That's who I want, not the Robert and John Henry that I see today. They have changed, definitely. And I don't know how you could argue that.
No, I think they've changed in the fact that when it comes, at least John Henry, as far as spending money, they're normally a team that's in the top 10. They'll finish just outside of it. But I definitely think that they tighten their wallets up a little bit here in the past few years.
Right, because they don't have that urgency to win. When John Henry bought the team, it was a mandate to get rid of the 86-year curse. Mm-hmm. And that was when they lost in 03. Larry Lucchino wrote a letter to season ticket holders.
Yep.
They acquired Kurt Schilling. They signed Keith Folk. They traded Nomar. Boom, they win a World Series. And in the middle of that, they tried to get A-Rod. That whole way of operating the team has changed dramatically. And with the Patriots, Robert Kraft thought it was him that the reason they won those championships. And clearly, when you watch the tumbleweeds, it had nothing to do with him. It was about having a great quarterback, good coach helped, and a lot of good players.
Well, I'll give it to Alex Cora. At least he still shows up.
He's talking.
And goes on with Arcand and Hart, and still does the interview.
He's talking.
So he's still the official name is the WEEI afternoon show. In the afternoon. Ooh, Shime, I like that. I like a good jingle.
Me too.
I really like that.
If Buenos Aires is good morning, Courtney, how do you say good afternoon?
I
Doesn't
like that.
Buenas noches work for both?
No, Buenos Tardes.
Buenas tardes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Greg, I actually have another version of that if you'd like.
Oh,
you
I
do?
love it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I kind of like that one.
Oh,
can we get those for the morning too? I like those.
I could probably figure it out. I got one more if you want it.
Oh, I love it.
Because I got,
Yes, okay. Ooh, love
Ooh,
it, Sean.
subtle. Can we hear
Love
that
it.
second one again?
I love it. There you go. Curtis prefers the second one. Love
Boom.
it.
Bops.
Love it. This is David from Florida. Hello, David.
Hello again.
Hey, what's up, David?
I am good. I couldn't help it when I heard what Cora said about 2 minutes ago. I just couldn't help but calling in. There's a culture problem in this team now, and it starts with. I mean, obviously, it starts at the top with Henry. Henry's an idiot, but Cora is in the locker room every day, and he is just pathologically too permissive. He's making excuses for Devers Devers is supposed to be a leader. Let him go out and take classes or study online. Let him learn how to speak the English language. Not that I don't want to sound bigoted or anything, come on. Cora is just too permissive. He's too docile, and it's just making me sick. Everything about him, everything about this guy, it's preposterous.
Yeah.
And this guy is not a good manager. He has no business being where he is. He's not a leader.
This is back to what Wiggy says, which is that in Major League Baseball, the manager is really not that important. So
is he, or is she? And when you think about it, right? I know you hold Alex Cora to a high regard, and I'm not saying he's not a good manager, but. And that's the thing. I understand baseball is different than other sports. So when you have other sports where it's about trying to motivate guys, having these type of leaders in the locker room, who's the guy that walks around with the Joe clock bat? We had Willie McGinnis. I understand that baseball's a different appeal and it's a different feel, and maybe locker rooms or clubhouses are different. But
not to mention they've had a lot of night games, Triple E. I mean, that's going to be a tough thing to overcome.
The manager, it's more about, I would say, getting guys in baseball, maybe I don't want to say, give up's the wrong word, but just maybe feel like we're out of it.
Text for you, Wiggy, from New Hampshire.
Can we just talk about all the texts that are correcting Buenos Aires not meaning good morning?
Oh, yeah, they missed that.
Unfortunately, I wish that I could correct Curtis on that. I have a lot of people saying, correct Curtis. He is making fun of me for saying that a few weeks ago.
Yes, you did.
Swing and a miss. I was not good at Spanish.
Hey, go back and listen to the news today and hear me handle the dumbest of the day. You'll feel better about yourself.
So good morning in Spanish is buenos what?
Mañana. No.
All right.
You took Spanish for like 3 years.
Buenos
I took
mañanas.
Spanish.
At Boston College, you took it for 3 years.
3 years at
Okay,
BC
nobody
and in
say
high
it.
school.
And in high school.
And in middle school.
How do you say good morning?
And you don't know how to say good morning?
Okay.
It's on the tip of my tongue.
Starts with a D.
Buenos dias.
Yay!